gentlemen, my name is George Iwuh, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to be here. First, to listen to the amazing talks we've had today, and also for the opportunity to present my ideas, especially my ideas on what I think is the future of work. So feel free to check on them later and validate them. So when I was told I was to talk on the future of work, a lot of things started coming to my brain. But after so many things I want to talk about, I decided that for you to understand where my direction is going towards the future of work, I think we should look at what the evolution of work has been. So when you want to talk about the evolution of work, you have to take back some years back. Can you bring up the slide? So before now, we had communities in rural areas, and you could see a community just within themselves. They don't have anything aside that community. They farm, they eat. So what kind of work do you see there? You see farmers. The only thing they do is cultivate. And if you want to analyze what work is in the future, you have to look at it from three stratas. What type of work it is, where is the workplace, and who are the workers. So when you look at that prehistoric type of community, you see that the work is just farming, and you see that the workplace is just where they have their trade, where they sell their goods and commodities, probably vegetables. And you see that the workers are mostly family members. Maybe your uncle, the child, the father, the brother, they all come together, they farm, and they sell. Then, if you can bring up the slide, you will see that then comes the first thing, which is like a road. A road, I call it my village road. And on a narrow, it depicts a narrow path. On one end of the path is a community, probably my village, and the other end of the path is another community, probably your village. And what happens? What happens now is that the work changes because the community has changed. Because now, I can move from point A to point B. So that means I'm going to share culture with the next community. And what it means eventually is that I'm going to share goods and services with the neighboring community. And so in that local context, the two communities categorize what type of work is going to come out in that community. And in such a scenario, you see what we have in our normal Igbo setting, where we have things like the market days. On such market days, you see people moving from the interlands to the place where the market is to sell their communities. On the next market day for the neighboring communities, people come. So now the work goes beyond just selling vegetables. Now, for somebody that is going to trek that path, is going to put on a footwear. So there's probably another work that is coming, which is what? Somebody that is going to repair footwear. Somebody that is going to build footwear. Because now, there is a need for you to build footwear. Now, go a little step further. There are now roads, there are cars, there are boats, there are aircrafts. And this whole thing evolves into a larger community. The community is no longer between one community in the local government. It now cuts across cities. It now cuts across states. And what happens? Because of that, there is a demand to move much more goods and services from one location to another. And when you're moving such amount of goods and services, you're not going to be moving them singularly, you have to move them in bulk. So there comes a need to own a shop. There comes another work, which is what somebody that is going to build a shop. There comes another work, somebody that is going to build the cars, somebody that is going to build the ships, somebody that is going to build the aircraft. So the work has evolved because of what? An increase in the community. The community now has changed. They now move across different far than they used to be before. Then what happened? then came something again that changed the status quo of our community. And what was that? Internet. When internet came, community changed. Now I can stay here and I can communicate with somebody in Kenya. And what happens? Because I'm talking with somebody in Kenya, I'm sharing, the person is sharing his or her experience with me. And I'm learning from the person is also learning from me. And because of that need, I have the desire to exchange goods and services for the person. And what happens eventually? You see that now I begin to see what are the services I can exchange with this person. Remember, the primary point was the access. Initially, there was the access, which was the narrow path which you would tread with your leg. Then there was another access, which was the paved road where cars can move. And now is another type of access, the internet. The internet gave us access to reach a wider community. And because of that wider community, we can now look at what services and products we can offer to this our wider community. And the internet is supposed to have caused a very drastic evolution in what we produce and what we service. But there is a little catch, a little limitation to what the internet has done. And what was that? Trust and collaboration. Fine, I can be here and I can be working for a firm in Kenya. But the CEO in Kenya might be like, I don't trust this person. I need to see him face to face. So trust becomes an issue. You need to travel to Kenya to see the CEO, talk with him. That is one limitation which the internet could not bridge in terms of making the community wider. Then the second limitation is collaboration. Because some people feel more comfortable collaborating when they see each other face to face. So the internet had that limitations. We had offices where people would now come, schedule meetings, and discuss face to face. And that need brought about so many offices. And in those offices, people sit down from 8 a.m. to probably 4 or 5 p.m. where they just sit down on their desks and press computer or do one thing or the other, write some books and things like that. Now, but finally, a bomb landed. And it landed this year. And what was that? That was COVID-19. COVID-19 landed. And from all the speakers, you must have heard how disastrous, this year has been. But on the flip side, you can look at COVID-19 as a great thing. Why? Because COVID-19 pushed a lot of companies to send their workers home. And that is the difference. For you to cater for a product that sells to 0.1% of the whole world, it means that it's a specialized product. It's a specialized skill. And that is what we are evolving to become. We are evolving to become a people that is knowledge-packed and specialized in their areas. And also beyond that, any work you're doing today that is redundant, can be repeated, can be programmed, can be mechanized, it's likely that it will be phased out in the future because computers can do it better. And what happens? But there is a part that machines cannot do. There is a type of work that is coming up that only human beings can do. And that is the skill to do that work is what we call human skills. And human skills revolve around things like empathy, leadership. These are things machine cannot do. And when you see the speaker that last spoke here talking about you seeing somebody that is differently abled, and you are, having a kind of interaction with the person, and you begin to feel somehow, that feeling you have, it cannot be exemplified by a machine. And that is why in today's world, when companies are interviewing and when companies are looking at people, they look at your human skills, because gradually, a lot of the works you are going to be doing for them are gradually becoming redundant. They can outsource this to a machine, They can, I was opportuned to be in a seminar some weeks ago from Google, where in the seminar, they were showcasing us the research they were doing, which was going to help a lot of people, especially in the developing world, which is they just take an image of your eye, the iris, the pupil, everything. They use a photo camera and take an image. And with that image, they can put it through an AI, and the AI is going to predict a number of diseases you have or you're likely to have. And that makes a huge difference. Imagine the cost people spend in trying to know what illness they have. And imagine to be able to predict for you with a little or no cash the risk of things like diabetes, things that you can face. Lawyers of today, of course, we know they've evolved. They've gone online. We look at teachers today, they are able to push their courses online. You look at, even recently, Chinese government was experimenting on a different technology, which people were having different opinions about, 5G, 6G, which necessitates a doctor to stay in China and perform an operation in a different country. And that makes a huge difference. Of course, these things are not here right now, but there are tasks that are needed from us. Number one is skill, be highly skilled. Number two is start developing human skills. The government needs to evolve. They need to start looking at different ways to tax, because if you're not taxing properly, you're going to miss it. And also, as individuals, the government needs to provide us with much energy, but you might look at the energy, it's beyond government now. People are becoming independent, going beyond their hands to go and get solar systems, energy systems, to enable them to connect to the global world, to tap the knowledge, and to work for a larger community. So, there are a lot of things to talk about, but I would like to say that these are the few ideas that have been going on around my head about where the future of work is. Thank you very much.